So yesterday on the video that I was making, I forgot to mention that the animal that was having severe diarrhea did end up dying. I forgot to mention that yesterday. I'm not exactly sure what happened, and I told myself that if I don't know what happened, that is also my fault. I want to say that he got sick overnight, and then within 36 hours he was dead, but I am not able to 100% confirm that. I do not know if that is entirely true. So because I was telling myself, if he was having that bad of a diarrhea and he was having that severe of a health problem, I would have noticed it earlier. But I'm not exactly sure what happened. That is also my accountability, right? If I don't know what happened and I am the caregiver of these animals, that is also on me. And so I'm not exactly sure what happened, but he erupted in just horrible diarrhea, the worst diarrhea that I've ever seen. I gave him a shot of antibiotics, and I gave him a shot of Banamine. The next morning, 24 hours later, his manure had solidified and he looked like he was doing better. I woke up in the morning, I took a look at him, he was drinking water. I left to go buy seed, and when I came back, he was on the floor dead. And so I don't know exactly what happened. He had the worst diarrhea that I had ever seen in my life. I mean, it was the worst diarrhea that I had ever seen. His stool was so loose that when he was walking around, it was just leaking out of his rear end. Like as he walked around, it would just leak out of his rear end. That is how loose his stool was. It was the worst diarrhea that I have ever seen. And I'm not exactly sure what happened to him. But, he got sick, had the worst diarrhea that I had ever seen, and then he died. And that animal that had gotten 2 shots of fluorophenical, and he's also now on 2 shots of Zactran. The animal that I was like, this animal looks like he's doing drastically better, but I am going to finish his medication. I'm going to make sure he finishes his medication. He is starting to pant again. I don't know exactly what's happening. I'm not exactly sure what's happening, but he's gotten 1 shot of Banamine, 2 shots of Zactran, and 2 shots of fluorophenical at this point. It looked like he was doing better, and then now I'm looking at him and he's panting real hard. But that's one of these things about cell barn cattle, especially the real small ones, is that if I'm going to be completely honest, your death loss may be as high as 5 to 10%. When you bring home these real small animals, and when they get sold at the cell barn, you don't exactly know what's going on with that animal. You can, like me, I look to pick the best and choose the best ones that I can. I take a good hard look at them before I buy them, and your death loss is gonna be, well, probably, granted that the first animal that died was that was completely preventable. The second animal, I'm not exactly sure what happened. He erupted in just massive diarrhea, and then he died. And the third animal here, I've given him 4 shots of antibiotics and a shot of anti-inflammatory, and he's still just panting really hard. But he's still eating feed. And so I don't exactly know what's going on with him. I'm going to have to keep my eyes on him. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with him. But this morning, I went and I purchased I've been talking about, I'm looking to buy a truck. But yesterday, while I was plowing my field, my tractor is on the verge of exploding. The transmission is going out. The gear is slipping out of drive and going into neutral on its own. When I put the hydraulic pump is starting to die. When I try and raise and lower the PTO, sometimes the PTO arms do not go up. And when I put a load on the tractor, when I start trying to drag that moldboard plow through the soil, the tractor's just not having it. It's just not the workload is too much for the tractor. And so this morning, instead of because I've been talking about I'm looking to buy a truck, but I decided I'm not going to buy the truck and I'm going to buy a tractor. And so this morning I went and bought myself a new tractor because so far what is going on is that okay, so I'm bringing into this year about a $20,000 to $25,000 tax write-off from last year. I'm bringing about $20,000 to $25,000 in this year from my deductions on last year. And if I purchase this tractor, I get a 20% cost deduction a year for the next 5 years until I've depreciated the entire value of the vehicle. From my understanding, that is how it works. And if I do, and I got a 6-year loan on it at 0% interest, and so my payment for the tractor is like I got a tractor. The tractor itself was $1,150 a month. It was $1,150 a month, and then I also bought a 10-foot disc plow for it. I bought a 10-foot disc plow that was designed to be pulled by that tractor. So I got a 10-foot hydraulic disc plow, and so for the disc plow and the tractor itself, I'm paying $1,250 a month. And for that $1,250 a month payment, I'm also getting a $1,500 a month tax write-off. And so, I bought myself a new tractor this morning. I got a 0% interest on it for 72 months, and I bought a disc plow, and I'm gonna be the tractor's gonna be here tomorrow morning, and so I'll be plowing up my field. And my big thing right now is to make sure all of my animals are okay. As of this point, I have 49 animals, and I'm not gonna bring in any more animals, and I'm gonna work with what I got until these animals are gone to the market. And once they've gone to the market, I'll figure it out then. As I take the animals to market, I'm gonna do my finances, and I'm gonna look at what my finances look like, and I will keep the ball rolling as I go. But I did buy myself a new tractor this morning, and my CPA did send me my tax paperwork. And on my farm last year, I made $32,850, give or take like $5 and something. I mean, just about $32,850. I made just about $32,850, give or take a few dollars and whatever else change, right? And so, but this year I'm gonna do better than that. I'm already on track to do better than what I did last year. Last year I had a lot of problems. I'm not gonna say I had a lot of problems. I had a lot that I had to go through last year. But one of the big benefits, one of the things that happened to me last year that was that just happened to be a very, very, very good financial situation for me, was that there was a major drought in the year prior, and the cattle market tanked when there was that major drought. And that was when I started buying cattle, and I bought cattle when cattle were between 135 and 150. The feeder cattle market was between 135 and 150, and by the time I had I was still looking to figure things out. I was still getting the grass figured out. I was still doing a lot of figuring out, and a lot of people, like when y'all watch me on YouTube, you don't get to see what I had to go through to get here. A lot of people, like when you watch my videos, you're just gonna see a guy who's running cattle on this wonderful field of grass. That's what you're gonna see, right? You're gonna be like, oh my God, like this guy is just running cattle on this incredible field of grass, and he's just making a boatload of money. But I did not start off here. And that is the part when you do not like if you do not know me from a long time ago, you would not understand what it took for me to get here. And I purchased my first lot of cattle 2 years ago. I purchased when they were at about 135. Feeder cattle market was at about 135, 150, and it took me almost an entire year to get my animals to about 900, 1,000 pounds. Granted that right now I could probably do that in about 9 months. Realistically, if I brought in a 200-pound calf, I could probably get him to about 900 pounds in about 9 months. I could probably put about 700 pounds on him in about 9 months. But when I was running my first lot of cattle, I was still figuring things out. I was still having to collect information and trying to see what works and what didn't work. And it took me almost a year to get my animals to 900 pounds that first time around. And but during that year, the feeder cattle market skyrocketed. It went from about 135, 150 all the way up to about 235, 260. And so I was able to, I purchased animals for about $325, and I ended up selling them for about $2,000 a piece, about $1,600 to $2,000 each. And so the feeder cattle market skyrocketed, and that is what allowed me to, make a good chunk of money. But this year, what is going to make me money is that I know what I'm doing more so than I did 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I mean, I was scrambling. I was trying to, I was figuring things out. I had a lot of people like like if y'all watch my YouTube and stuff like that, you're not gonna understand what I had to go through to get here. The amount of effort that had to go into me getting here. You know, just the cattle, learning how to just run the cattle. I legitimately had to work 7 days a week, and it still took me 2 years. Learning how to grow the grass, it took me like 14 years. This is like my 14th year growing crop. Running a business. I've probably been looking to run a business for for at least 7 years as well. And so like when y'all watch my YouTube channel, you're not gonna understand what it took me to get here. When you watch this video, you're just gonna see a guy who's running cattle at an extremely high level. But I did not start off here, and I know that kind of makes me sound like a prick when I say it. Oh my God, this guy's out here running cattle, making boatloads of money, talking about how his past was hard and how he, but it's the honest truth. It's the honest truth. God knows it. It's just as hard for me to run the cattle as it is for anybody else. It's a free country. If you think it's easy to run cattle, go. Nobody's stopping you from running cattle, right? You can go and figure it out for yourself. See how hard it is. And it's just as hard for anybody else as it is for me. This was almost impossible for me as well. Almost impossible. I mean, I was working like 17 hours a day for like months on end. And so, I mean, this was incredibly difficult, almost near impossible. And when I say that right now, it's gonna make me sound like a prick. Oh my God, he's talking about how this was hard in the past, but if you realistically want to see how difficult this is, nobody's stopping you from running cattle, right? It's a free country. You don't have to ask for anybody's permission. If you want to go and you want to buy cattle and you want to go run them, nobody's stopping you. Feel free, be my guest, knock yourself out. See how well you end up doing, right? But this year I'm gonna end up making more money simply because I have more of an idea of what needs to get done. And so I'm not entirely sure what's gonna happen to that animal up front. He's starting to pant real hard again, but he's still eating food. I don't know what's gonna happen to him. I'm just gonna say it's gonna be a miracle if he ends up surviving. Because at the rate that he's panting, by tomorrow I think it's going to be worse, and then the next day it's going to be even worse. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just overthinking things. I don't know. He's also black-hided, and it's also very hot outside, and it was like 85 in the afternoon, and so maybe he's just got a lot of heat trapped in him. I don't know exactly what's happening, but he's panting real hard again. And so I'm gonna keep my eyes on them, but my big thing to do right now is to keep a good eye on the animals, make sure everybody's okay. That is my number one focus as of right now. And I did go and purchase my new tractor this morning. But here's the thing, right? I always say so this is a very good time to say it, because I feel like if I say it right now, you're gonna understand that I say the things that I do because I live my own advice, right? The things that I suggest other people do, I suggest that other people do it because that is what I do. I always say, I'm not in an office, I'm not sitting in some suit and tie telling people to go and do things. I'm out in the field as well. I have my boots on, and I'm running cattle 24 hours a day, 7 days a week as well. I'm out here too, right? I'm not in some office just being like, oh, you should go and do this or you should go and do that, right? I legitimately farm myself. And so when I give a suggestion, it comes from the perspective of, what I would suggest to somebody else is also, it is what I would do myself, long story short. And, if you want to go, and this is a very good, but I bought almost a $100,000 tractor. I spent almost $100,000. It was almost $100,000 for all of the equipment. And it's $1,300 a month, $1,250 a month. And this is what I mean by do not give up on your dream over $1,000. I got a brand new tractor, 115 horsepower. I mean, a disc plow that will just, eat dirt like nobody's business. I mean, it will rip the field apart. And, I bought it at a tax advantage, and I paid $1,250 a month. And this is what I mean by do not give up on your dream over $1,000. If you want, if you know, like because me as of right now, you know, if I were gonna make a 1 month payment on my tractor, I wouldn't even have to sell one animal. If I sold one animal, I mean, I would come home with like $1,600, $1,500. And so if I sold one animal a month, that would pay for my tractor. And I'm gonna sell about 8 animals a month. And so, you know, that $100,000 tractor and the disc plow all combined is $1,250 a month. If I bought just the tractor, it would be $1,080 a month. And so this is what I mean by do not give up on your dream over $1,000. You know, if you go and you ask the banker, hey, I want to buy a piece of land and it costs $250,000, they're going to tell you, oh, it's $1,000 a month, but about 40% of your loan is going to be a principal payment, and the other rest of your loan is going to be amortized. It's going to be interest. And for the first 10 years, you're going to pay about 40 to 50% of that payment is going to go into principal, and the other 60 to 50% is going to be interest. And and if you think about that, it's like, oh, well, if I pay the bank $1,000 a month to purchase a 20-acre field, if I pay the bank $1,000 a month to purchase a 20-acre field, then I'm really only losing $600 because I also gain $400 worth of equity every single month. And if I desperately needed to tap that equity, I could open up a line of credit and hold the property as collateral for the loan if I desperately needed to. But if you're desperately needing to open up credit, I mean, that's not good. I mean, that's a sign that you should really, okay, if you're desperately looking to open up credit, that is a very, very, very good sign that you should just stop what you're doing and take a deep breath. Take a deep breath and look at what you're doing. You know, why are you so desperate to open up credit, right? That is a very good indicator that you should stop what you're doing and just take a deep breath. You know, but here's the thing, you know, like if you went and purchased a 20-acre field, paid $1,000 a month for it, and purchased a tractor and a disc plow, you would be all in about $2,200 a month to have that 20-acre field and a brand new tractor and a brand new disc plow. And and if you grew if you put me on 20 acres, I could probably grow about 100 bales of hay per 10 acres a year, maybe even more. On 10 acres, if I got 5 bales an acre and I harvested hay 3 times, I would get about 150 bales of hay. 5 times 50 times 3 is 150. I would get on 20 acres. I would just, if the weather is just average, if I have very average weather, I would pull about 300, maybe even 350 bales of hay off of that 20 acres. Me personally, I would, right? In terms of my skill level and what am I capable of, I would probably pull about 300 to 350 bales of hay off of 20 acres a year. And at 350, bales of hay, and if you get $75 a bale, I mean, with that money, you've now paid for your tractor and your land, and you've also made, about maybe about $5,000, right? And but if you put 20 grand into something, if you put 20 grand into something and you make 25 grand out of it, that is a very good return. And you are also building equity in the property. If you make a 20, on the grand scheme of things, most people are not going to be able to make an 800% return like I do. Most people are not going to be able to make even a 500%. If you look at my numbers, they're going to seem ridiculous, right? Like, oh, I put about $1,000 a month into my farm and I make like $6,000. I make like a 600% return on my money, but most people will not be able to do this. I'm just being honest with you. Most people, and you should not look at what I do and look to do what I do, because if you look at what I do and you think that you can do what I do, and somewhere in your mind you are believing that this is easy. For whatever reason, you are just sitting there going, oh, this must be easy, and if you go forward like that, you will lose all your money. I would be willing to bet you are not only going to lose all your money, but you are going to lose all of your money and then some, because this business is almost impossible. The reason that people don't do this is because the work is extremely difficult, and it's nearly impossible. And so I'm just gonna be straight up be honest with everybody. Why would I lie? And if you think I'm lying or whatever, go out and try it yourself. It's a free country. If you want to go to the sale barn and choose your own animals, bring them home and raise them yourself, and you want to go on your mystical, magical journey, nobody's stopping you, right? I mean, it's a free country. If that is what you want to do and you want to figure it out for yourself, go for it, right? I mean, nobody's stopping you. It's a free country. And so, but this morning I did go and buy myself a new tractor. It's gonna be here tomorrow. I'm gonna get the rest of my land plowed up, and I would say about next month I'll have about 8 animals ready to go to market. And yeah, I'm just gonna keep the ball rolling. I'm gonna work with what I got, and then when I start taking animals to market, I'm gonna take a look at my finances, take a look at how things are going. And I am going to, keep the ball rolling forward. But as of right now, as of this very moment, I have about a $40,000 tax write-off. So far, I have about a $40,000 tax write-off. And, just in the next month, I would anticipate that I'm going to bring home somewhere close to maybe about $15,000 to $20,000. If I sell 8 cattle, and I also, I'll probably bring home about $15,000 next month. And so, the big thing is that if I make money in the cattle business, and I buy animals this year and I intend to sell them next year, I can only write off half the cost. And so the money that I make on the cattle business at the end of the year, I need to double that amount. If I'm going to if my intentions are to write the taxes off on next year, I need to double that amount. If I'm looking to write off my income tax by purchasing cattle, then I need to double the amount of money that I make on my field, and then invest that amount so that I can write off the full amount. And so, but as of right now, I got about a $40,000 tax write-off for this year. As of right now, next year in just that 1 month, I'll be making about 15 grand. If I sell 8 cattle, I'll be making about $15,000 in 1 month, and then that next month I'll also have another 8 cattle ready to go, and that next month I'll probably also have another 8 cattle ready to go. And so right there, that's already 45 grand. And so, I need to, stay on top of my investment portfolio. If I don't, and I sit there, at the end of the year, if I don't, worst case scenario, I've already written it down on a piece of paper. If I only invest my earnings and I don't take any debt, I can walk away from this business with about $25,000 for the year. And but I don't really want to be in that situation, because I ran the numbers. Because if I walk away with because the big advantage to leveraging for the assets is not that I get to keep the 60 grand. The big benefit of leveraging for assets is not that I get to keep the 60 grand. The big benefit is that I get to end the year with 200 cattle. That is the big benefit. The big benefit of me leveraging for assets and writing off the totality of my income is that I get to end the year with 60 grand, but also the biggest benefit is that I also get to have 200 cattle. Because if I have 200 number 1 to 1.5 type medium large frame steers, I can start off the next year with 360 and 300 and about maybe about $350,000. That's the big benefit. But if I don't leverage, if I don't leverage for assets, I can still start off the year with about 150 grand. And so 25, excuse me, not 150. If I have 100 cattle and I would start, if I have 100 cattle and I only invest what I earn, and I have 100 cattle, I would have to run the numbers, but I would start off the year with I would say I still start off the year with about 150. So, but if I leverage for cattle and write off the totality of my income, I can start off the year making about next year making about $350,000 for the first 5 months of the year. That's the big benefit. And I also get to keep the 60 grand that I make this year. And so, I've got the taxes and stuff like that, how to run the numbers for my business. It's starting to be more normalized for me. I'm still having to work the numbers on a piece of paper to make sure I do things correctly, and that to make sure that I'm thinking objectively correctly. But they're starting to become more normalized in my brain. And so, but that's it for me today, YouTube. Y'all have a good one.